Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dom Cotroneo. Brewers make a trade today. You know that by clicking on the video. Let's break this down in 10 minutes or less, what this deal means. The Brewers receiving Nestor Cortes, 1 year of control. He's due to be a free agent at the end of the 2025 season. And a minor leaguer who is yet to make his big league debut in Caleb Durbin. Also some cash coming over to the Brewers in exchange for Devin Williams going to the Yankees. 1 year for him as well. He's due to be a free agent at the end of the season. From the Brewers' perspective, I've seen some fans already wondering, well, who the heck is Caleb Durbin? Let's do our best to just break it down as simple as possible, going over to his baseball reference page. He's a Chicago area kid. He's from Lake Forest. He then went to Washington University in St. Louis. That is a Division III school. And I also want to include a shout out to Cespedes Family Barbecue. If you're familiar with that podcast, Jordan Schusterman, Jake Mintz, they've done a great job over the years. Jake went to that same school, WashU. D3 legends, and they actually recently had Caleb on their podcast. I'll link it up here so you guys can watch that to learn a little bit more about Caleb from a couple of weeks ago as a Yankee prospect. He was actually added to the 40-man roster to protect him from the Rule 5 draft, which is kind of the universal signal for a team to say, we like you, we see a future for you, and furthermore, we think you are going to be a big league player at some point. And the Brewers, as we know, love positional versatility, and that's what they're getting out of Caleb Durbin. He has played all over the place. As you look at his fielding log here, just from this last 2024 season, in Scranton, second base, third base, 1 game in center, 8 games in left field, 14 games at short, and then you also see him in the Eastern League in Somerset. A little bit more of an infield profile there, not as many games in AA this year as opposed to last. So we know that very well. The Brewers love it when guys are able to play multiple positions. What else do they love? They love ball strike ability. This is his entire season in 2024. 53 walks and only 40 strikeouts. When you know the strike zone, you're going to have a chance to get on base, not just with the hits. And the Brewers have a few guys that have a great feel for the strike zone now that fit this mold. Because Caleb, as you can see, is not the biggest guy in the world. He's 5'6", listed at 185. Some photos of him suggest that that is very accurate, to say the least. And we'll get to know him in spring training. You see his overall slash line combined on the season: A-ball, AA, AAA. 275 batting average. Granted, that's with 8 games in the lower levels, 82 games in AAA this season, an 839 OPS in 400 plate appearances. That's not bad, especially for a guy that's not considered to have a lot of power, more doubles type of power with 25 doubles and 10 home runs. And this is a recent power surge from him because you look back at, say, 2023, 4 homers, 17 doubles, but only had 110 fewer plate appearances in the combined season. Not bad at all in 90 games. Injuries were part of the issue for him. He had a fractured wrist here in 2024, which is why he was only limited to 400 plate appearances. He also had injuries in 2023. You can see he only played in 69 games in 2023, with only 47 of them coming in AA. But nonetheless, he still posted when he played those games. And the other column that's really jumping out at me, 110 career stolen bases in the minor leagues, only been caught 18 times. In fact, he almost has as nearly stolen bases as he has strikeouts in his minor league career. 110 versus 111. We know the Brewers in this new era of baseball have really found a value in the ability to run the bases well. The ability to steal a base, in their eyes, is very, very important. I'm not going to say it's more important than hitting home runs, but you look at the way the Brewers found success in 2024, it was relying on the big hitters like Adames, like Contreras, like Hoskins to drive in runs, and it was the job of the Turangs, the Freliks, the Ortizes to get themselves into scoring position, the Churios, by any means necessary, by stealing a bag, by hitting a double, by get a bunt down, then you steal second base, and boom, you're in scoring position for somebody with a little bit more heft in their bat down the lineup. That's how the Brewers find themselves having success, and something that they're going to keep an eye on for 2025 for Caleb Durbin. One quick shout out here as well. Northwoods League, he's a Fond du Lac dock spider. So he knows Wisconsin already, not far from home when he was playing in collegiate summer ball in his time at Washington University. So let's just start a quick little bit on Caleb Durbin. Now let's shift gears over to Nestor Cortes and just a quick little peek at his Baseball Savant page. When we arrive to Nestor's page here, first thing that jumps out to you is his fastball run value from 2024. 90th percentile. He threw 174 innings. That's super valuable. One of the best fastballs in the game. So why is that so valuable to him for somebody that throws 91 to 94 miles an hour? Well, you see over here on the right side, you see the movement profile. He gets a little more ride than you would expect from a player from especially his arm angle. He's very vertical with his arm angle compared to maybe some other lefties that we've seen. The other thing that I love about Nestor is he's not afraid to change up the shape of his sweeper, breaking ball, slider, whatever you want to call it. So watch this yellow blob as it changes from year to year. Now, 2023, he was injured for a little bit of this season. Didn't really get a good sample size on this. But 2022, he has less vert and was starting to get a little sweepy tendencies. You look at 2022 versus 2024, not as consistent with that pitch in last year. That's going to be something the Brewers are going to identify. The other thing that I always look at, especially for somebody with high spin like Nestor does, his four-seamer averages 2,300, which isn't freakish spin rate on a fastball, but the cutter, he's able to add spin at 2,400. The sweeper, like we just talked about, almost 2,600 RPMs. He's able to add spin. He's not the type of guy that's going to, blow it by you, but like we've talked about with Tobias Myers, when you have fastball ride, 92 looks like 94, 95, and we all have seen the funky clips of Nestor trying to mess up a hitter's timing. Just to give you an idea, let's look at Tobias Myers' arm angle. Remember that 47 degrees for Nestor Cortes? It's 61 degrees for Tobias Myers. Furthering the fact that Nestor is a freak to be able to get, upwards of 18, 19 inches of induced vertical movement. Looking down here at the stat case, averaging 19 IVB on his fastball, despite having a lower arm angle than you would expect, which is why he has such great life on that fastball and why players have trouble catching up to it. But when you're able to be ready for the fastball, you need to have something else to go with it. And by the run value stat, we see the cutter was better this season. He got a few more swings and misses on that pitch, but he's not a swing and miss pitcher. His goal is actually to get pop-ups and to get weak contact. He did give up some loud contact this season, which has been a shocking difference in what he had in the previous couple of seasons. A high launch angle indicates he's a fly ball pitcher. And some folks might sit there and think, wait a minute, that means he's going to give up a ton of home runs, isn't he? Well, not necessarily. When you look at his total home run rate, I know we see 12 home runs here on the four-seamer. That's something to monitor. Nobody is immune from home runs. And we look at this season by season on the graph chart. That spiked up out of nowhere this season. Suggests, okay, is he tipping it? Is he falling into patterns in certain fastball counts where he's giving up more home runs in that scenario? That takes a deeper dive than what this episode is supposed to be. So also, remember, Yankee Stadium, very hitter-friendly ballpark where he's pitched the majority of his innings. The way that Nestor Cortes gets guys out is not by, like we said, blowing them away. It's deception. It is changing timing. We've also seen the breaking balls, the changeups, a pitcher that he only will throw to right-handed hitters. Being left-handed, he's got to have tools to get righties out. And the periphery numbers are okay. I mean, a 369 slug on that pitch. WOBA is only 260 on. In fact, the hitters actually had a little bit of good luck according to Baseball Savant. His ex-WOBA would have been 252, which is well below league average, which is something to work with there too. And that's his main swing and miss pitch. Well, the cutter is going to be a pitch that we need to monitor because when we look at his overall movement profile year over year, he only started throwing the cutter with regularity in 2021. Okay, he threw it 350 or so times, 31% of the time. Didn't move all that much compared to what it became. Now, horizontally, that's where he has found some movement. This is in 2021, 5 inches of glove side movement, but he's taken off about almost a foot of glove side movement on his cutter, but he's also reduced vertical movement, so giving it a little more ride. I'm not saying it's going to be a Corbin Burns cutter, but if he can keep tinkering with that shape of the cutter, it can be something that while you're maybe trying to find a couple fraction of an inch more of movement to the glove side and maintaining this vertical number, you're able to get it up and in on right-handed hitters, which you talk to any lefty. The number one key to success when you're facing as many right-handed hitters as you are, it's to pitch inside, especially would be helpful with a cutter that starts on the inside corner, then bends in, breaks a bat. Now, you obviously can't miss on that pitch because that's when we see all those home runs being hit off of Nestor Cortes. Now, 12 homers on the four-seamer, but only 4 on the cutter, which is encouraging. Nonetheless, it's a one-year deal. It's a rental, so the Brewers will be heading into 2025 as of now, as of December 13th, with both Aaron Civale and Nestor Cortes on expiring deals. Brandon Woodruff has an option for 2026, and this also is one last smoke signal here from what I've seen from the Brewers and what they've been talking about with Brandon Woodruff's recovery is that, reminder, Brandon's coming off of a major shoulder surgery. This isn't Tommy John where it's become routine where we know what to expect when a guy comes back. The repair that Brandon Woodruff underwent, missing an entire season of pitching, is not insignificant. And I think this is another indication that the Brewers are feeling like they are going to give Woody as much time as he can to get ready for the 2025 season, taking it slow with him. And you can never have enough pitching to have multiple guys on expiring deals like Civale, like Cortes. Maybe one of these guys gets flipped too. That's something that a team that is really pitching hungry can be listening on to make a trade for, to make a deal for a player on a one-year deal. Nonetheless, the airbender era is over. What comes next? And real quick, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this part of the subject too, but names that come up. Craig Yoho, I tweeted the numbers and the vertical movement and the horizontal movement, very similar. Not saying it's the same pitch. They are different pitches to Devin Williams' airbender. And you can see it on the video right here side by side. When you throw it a little bit slower, the vertical number is going to be higher. Devin's had some serious deception. Yoho's got more movement-based. It's not so much deceiving because of the arm angle coming in so low, but that's something we'll learn more about from Craig if he's ready to make the team in 2025. We'll also see Abner Uribe back into the fold, coming back from knee surgery. He still has to serve his suspension, of course, too. And then also, you've still got Trevor McGill as your closer. You still got Yoel Payamps in the organization. Elvis Figueroa can still do some development, too. And you've got, furthermore, more and more players. Nick Mears is back for a full season, back in the Brewers organization now. You've still got DL Hall and Aaron Ashby, who will audition, I imagine, to be starters, but can be available to move back to the bullpen and be very effective in that regard as well. The Brewers traded from an area of depth, and because it's Devin Williams, because it's an all-star, it hurts. It's frustrating. But nonetheless, the Brewers have a reason for their madness, and with 1 year remaining for Devin Williams, they wanted to make sure they got something out of it, and here we see a utility infielder in Caleb Durbin, and innings from Nestor Cortes, and you will never turn down innings in 2025's version of baseball where starters go so short. So in all, time will tell how this will work, but it looks like if Caleb Durbin turns into something that can be a utility, useful infielder, the Brewers can maybe feel satisfied at the end of the day after letting Devin Williams go to the New York Yankees. So that's our instant reaction on this one. Again, we've got shows on Thursdays, most Thursdays of the offseason on WTMJ, and we've also got the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Brewers All Access. Until next time, keep on swinging.